Let me ask you something. How does a guy who barely shows up still run the whole show? Roman Reigns hasn't competed full-time in over a year. He's missed PPVs, he's missed Raw, he's missed entire storylines. And yet every single week his name is the first one people talk about. His music hits and the entire building shifts. And that's not an accident. That's not luck. And honestly, it's not even just about wrestling. So today, I'm going to break down the real reason Roman Reigns still controls WWE. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you're going to look at him completely differently. To understand where Roman is now, you have to remember where he started. Because if you were watching WWE between 2015 and 2018, you know exactly how bad it got. The crowd hated him. Not heel heat, not the fun kind of booing. We're talking legitimate rejection. Fans were doing the "Roman is boring" chants, cheering for literally anyone else. Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, even Bray Wyatt in a sheep mask got more cheers. And WWE's response was to just keep pushing Roman harder. He won the Royal Rumble. Crowd booed. He main evented WrestleMania. Crowd booed. He beat The Undertaker. Crowd booed. On paper, that should have finished him, because that's usually how careers die in WWE. You get rejected, you get de-pushed, you fade out. But something different happened with Roman. He waited. And while he waited, he paid attention. He studied every reaction, every promo that didn't land, every moment the crowd turned on him. And somewhere in that process, he stopped trying to be what WWE wanted and figured out what he actually was. And that shift is where the real story begins. August 2020, no crowd, no fans, the Thunderdome era. And right there in the silence, Roman turned heel. Paul Heyman walks out, Roman spears Jey Uso. The cold stare, the slow clap, it was cinematic, but the timing was the real genius. Because turning heel without a live crowd meant the character had room to breathe and develop slowly. So by the time fans returned, the tribal chief was already fully formed, the mythology already built. This wasn't a corporate villain or a comedic bad guy. Roman became a godfather, a patriarch who genuinely believed he was carrying his family on his back and used that belief to justify everything. The stipulations with the Usos, the manipulation of Sami Zayn, the control over Paul Heyman. And that consistency separated him from every other heel in recent memory. Then came the unified titles. Universal and WWE championships held simultaneously for the first time in the modern era. And Roman didn't just become a champion, he became the standard everything else was measured against. But here's where it gets deeper. Because if you think Roman's power is just about the character, you're only seeing half the picture. Roman Reigns is a legitimate business asset. When he holds the title, ticket sales rise, merch moves differently, and the events he appears on sell out fastest. WWE isn't protecting him out of loyalty. They're protecting him because the return on investment is undeniable. Add the Hollywood factor, Fast and Furious, global name recognition, parents who've never watched wrestling knowing exactly who he is, and you have something rare, a wrestler with cultural leverage that reaches completely outside the industry. His losses are events, his appearances are rationed. That's not creative booking, that's asset management. And Roman understood before anyone else that scarcity builds value. The Bloodline storyline then became the greatest long-form story WWE has ever told. Roman as the untouchable patriarch, Heyman as the consigliere with divided loyalty, the Usos torn between blood and blind obedience, Sami Zayn as the outsider who loved the family and got betrayed for it, Solo Sikoa as the enforcer who eventually came for the throne itself. Every arc was earned. Nothing rushed, nothing dropped. And even when Roman wasn't on screen, the story was still entirely about him. Because that's what a truly great character does. They're felt in every room they're not in. So what's left? 3 things. First, Cody Rhodes. Because that story has no real closure yet. Roman hasn't truly reckoned with losing, and that final chapter is still unwritten. Second, the Bloodline implosion. Solo is running a pale imitation, and Roman coming back to either reclaim it or burn it down is pure box office. Third, the send-off, the retirement arc this generation deserves. One final WrestleMania, the same crowd that booed him for years rising to their feet to say thank you. And that moment will be one of the most emotional this era of wrestling fans ever witnesses. Roman Reigns still controls WWE because he did what almost nobody in this business ever successfully does. He reinvented himself completely, patiently, and on his own terms. He went from the most rejected man in wrestling to the greatest character the industry has produced in 2 decades. And he did it by understanding one simple truth that most people never grasp. Real power isn't loud, it's inevitable.